I, 25 female, am an electrician. I started my apprenticeship at 17 and was hired immediately by my sponsor after I received my license. The reason I chose the trade was that I grew up in a trailer with my mom and sister, and I've wanted to have my own house since I can remember. Being in the trades gave me access to a stable job and access to more money sooner. My partner, 29, female, Thea, is a plumber, and we've scrounged and saved. In the end, we bought land and built a tiny house in the uptown area of our city. It has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. One of the bedrooms is our reptile room, as I keep snakes and Thea keeps bearded dragons. We're child-free and happy in our home. My sister, Lucy, 34, is a waitress and has 3 boys, 2 toddlers and 1 preschooler. Her husband just left her for a woman my age, and she's left without his income to raise all 3 kids on her own. Her husband had bought her out of half the house during the divorce, and that left her and the kids living with my mom in the trailer. She has full custody, and my ex-brother-in-law pays minimum child support. I think it's $300 a month. I can admit I didn't grow up in the safest area and was carrying a knife when I was a teenager because of the danger. Because of the safety issue, Lucy came to Thea and me and begged us to let her and her sons move in. She said we'd have to get rid of our reptiles to keep them in our room. Her sons could have the other bedroom, and she would sleep in our kitchen on an air mattress. She said nothing about paying rent or helping around the house. I told her no, because 2 toddlers and a little kid about to start kindergarten aren't suitable for being in our home, and we don't want so many people in our house. She said that we live in a better part of town with better schools and that she needed the help. I told her we didn't have the room and that I was sorry. Still, I could hook her up with some journeymen I know. She could get started on an apprenticeship that pays better than her current job if she needed extra money. She called my job and Thea's job dirty blue-collar trash and left her home. She posted about how we wouldn't let her stay online. Now my relatives are messaging me about how could I let a single mother and 3 kids be homeless, how they're your blood, and you owe your sister better than that. I feel like a complete idiot, even though Thea told me I have every right not to want them in our house. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If your sister's ex bought her out of their house, what would she have done with that money? She should have gotten an apartment. She's obviously done some homework if she's thinking about your local schools, which the eldest won't need for a while, assuming they start at 5. She just wants to mooch, possibly with you and your partner as babysitters, rather than sort herself out. It was so presumptuous of her to tell you to move your pets out and she'll have your living room. Exactly. She's planning on all of them moving in permanently. You chose your lot and worked hard to hone your skills. She chose to have 3 children in quick succession with an idiot. You don't owe her or her children anything. Don't disrupt your life over this. If your blue-collar money is dirty to her, she can bunk elsewhere. Geez, can she get any more entitled? Next thing you know, she'll be demanding you and Thea move out of your house so she can have it. OP, you've done a great job with your goals and your achievements, so don't ever question yourself. Here's what you tell all of those people who are bad-mouthing you. Ask them just how much money and help they're going to give your sister. So her ex never sees the kids? If that's the case, he should be paying more for support, even if he has a lower-paying job. Considering they owned a home, it sounds like he makes decent money. So he should be paying more than $300 for 3 kids with no custody. I am curious what her ex does for a living, since she looks down on trades. He had to buy her out of a home, so he's making decent money. Something is not adding up in the sister story. Yeah, some people in the comments pointed out that my sister's story wasn't lining up. I'm going to dinner at a nice Mexican restaurant tonight with my ex-brother-in-law and my wife. He says he's bringing his niece, who's interested in plumbing, along, so it should be a good conversation. He's a doctor, by the way. Update. Am I the idiot for not letting my sister and her kids live in my house? I went to dinner with my ex-brother-in-law tonight. He brought his laptop and showed us all of the documentation. Lucy used her proceeds from the house to pay for her attorney, even though my brother-in-law offered to pay. Time-stamped emails to prove it. The woman living with him is his niece, not his affair partner, as Lucy claimed. She came to the meeting. They have pictures and phone records showing she's my brother-in-law's oldest sister's daughter. Lucy cheated. All 3 boys aren't his, and DNA tests show that they all have different dads. So Lucy has been having multiple affairs. The $300 he's sending each month is a goodwill payment for allowing him to be a dad for a few years. Lucy isn't a waitress. She's working for Amway and another company called Sensi in direct sales. Lucy won't do an apprenticeship because it doesn't fall under traditional gender roles. She posted it on a second social media account. Lucy has made phobic posts on social media about me and my wife and blocked us so we didn't see them. Lucy's the one who doesn't want him to have custody, according to the emails, texts, and recorded phone calls that he showed me. If she let him and obeyed court orders, he would have liked to keep being their dad. He wants them out of the trailer park, and I'm pretty sure a warrant for her arrest is coming because she hasn't shown up in court when he's tried. In the end, I don't know what to think. She's always been very spoiled by him and by our family. I'm stewing in the fact that I've been lied to by a person I trusted at her word. I'm in shock and I'm angry. I'm just sitting with my snake Crowley and trying to come to terms with what the heck happened. Wow, that update? I was already thinking not the idiot, but now it's very clear who the idiot really is. Your sister has had 3 children, each with a different father, while married to a 4th man? She lied about brother-in-law having an affair. She belittled your home from the very start. She wanted you to remove your pets so she could move in. She insulted your jobs as beneath her. She's misogynistic and doesn't want to do a man's job, even with kids to look after. Never mind the idea of having her in your house. This woman doesn't deserve to be in your life. I would put everything she's done on blast. Check with brother-in-law first. He doesn't need to get tangled up in this. And make sure anyone coming after you knows the truth of the situation. I, 33-year-old male, somewhat recently became single after a 4-year relationship ended. Since then, I haven't been too aggressive about getting back out there. But 3 months ago, I downloaded Hinge and have had some conversations, taken a few women out for drinks and had a couple of casual flings, but nothing serious so far. This past weekend, I was hanging out with some friends. They asked me if I was dating again yet, and I told them what I said above. They were asking about how things have changed since I was last single, and one thing I mentioned was that a lot more of the people my age were now parents, so avoiding this is harder. I also have to get used to a bigger age range to date, whereas before, in every relationship I've had, we've been the same age. My friend Mandy, 32, who's separated from her husband and has 2 kids, seemed offended and asked me to elaborate. I told her that I had changed my age range to 26 to 33, where I would have kept it to maybe 1 to 2 years. She told me this was shallow and that 26-year-olds don't want to date someone like me anyway, and I should just suck it up and realize there's nothing wrong with being a stepdad. I have nothing against single moms. This isn't one of those posts, but I was just like, nah. I've had no issue with matching and getting younger women to want to go out with me. Nothing against single parents, but I'll happily just date younger since I don't want to sign up for that. She seemed mad and was short with me the rest of the day. Later, our mutual friend Dan, whose wife is good friends with Mandy, told me that she told his wife that I was being an idiot and that my whole attitude was crappy. Am I really the idiot for that? I wasn't putting down single parents at all. I was raised by a single mom and have a ton of respect for them. It's just not what I'm looking for, and it hasn't been difficult so far avoiding the situation. Mandy sounds bitter. You have a dating preference and no one can dictate it for you. If having a preference for dating someone is shallow, then every single person is shallow. She didn't like your dating boundaries and insulted you for them, which was wholly unnecessary. Your friend is delusional and insecure, not the idiot. Kinda. More that OP's friend is unhappy that other guys may be thinking the same thing, and that may shape her dating life now that she's single again. That's not necessarily insecurity. Dating a single parent isn't easy. Exactly. She's bitter because she's one of the profiles you generally skip past once you see the I have kids part. So she's frustrated by her own situation and taking that out on you. You don't want someone else's kids, and it's your right to choose. Keep doing what you're doing as long as you're enjoying yourself. I, 30 female, have a half-sister, 23, who will be getting married sometime next year. My half-sister is my dad's child. She's actually the child he had an affair with while married to my mom. My parents divorced when my mom learned that my dad had cheated on her, and things became more tense until she found out the person he cheated with had gotten pregnant. My dad told her that the other woman was out of the picture, and my mom could have the second child she always wanted, and we could be a family. I was there for part of this conversation because Dad wanted me to be excited for a sibling and thought it would win my mom over. My mom stood firm with Dad. Dad would tell my half-sister that we had the same mom. He talked like that around me and tell me to shut it when I told him to stop lying. He also told me Mom could be a kind person and step up for a child who had no mother. According to him, the affair partner found someone else to be the affair partner with and didn't want to know my half-sister. When I was 11, my mom died, so I went to live with my dad. About a year later, Dad got married, but even after we got married, he taught my half-sister that my mom was her mom. I'll say whatever hope we had of a relationship was ended by my dad doing this because she wouldn't believe me when I told her she had a different mom, and she hated me for not giving her photos and stuff of moms and for not making my family acknowledge her as their granddaughter like I was acknowledged. My dad's wife never became a mom to my half-sister, even though she admitted to desperately wanting one because she was so hung up on my mom. Mom left me everything, and my grandparents took care of the stuff for me until I became independent. I wore some of Mom's wedding jewelry and veil on my wedding day. I didn't invite my dad or any of his family, including my half-sister, but she saw the photos. So she reached out to me on social media and told me she wanted some of Mom's stuff for her wedding, and I said no. She told me that now was not the time to be selfish, and I told her that she was entitled to nothing and that she would have to find other things to wear. She called me names, and I told her Dad should have really admitted the truth to her by now. She said she didn't know why I was so adamant she wasn't Mom's kid, and it's not fair because I got to be raised by Mom for 11 years while she got nothing and for no reason at all. Afterward, my dad's wife reached out and told me how upset my half-sister was and asked me to please consider giving her something because Dad really messed her over and she feels hated by Mom and me. My half-sister messaged again after this and told me I was being really unfair to her and how I made Mom's abandonment of her even worse. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Tell her you'd be happy to let her have something if a DNA test shows you're full siblings. If she's so sure, that should be a great offer. Make sure Dad's nearby so you can watch him try to figure out how to stop it. The funniest outcome, given the affair partner apparently moved on to another affair immediately, would be finding out you're not siblings at all. Oh God, I would love that for OP's dad, but I would feel so sorry for the affair child. Can't imagine the mental breakdown that could trigger, but it honestly sounds like a DNA test needs to happen, so she leaves OP alone. I have sympathy to a point, but if you're told the truth repeatedly and ignore it because it's not what you want the truth to be, you lose the right to complain. Yeah, do a DNA test on her and show the results in front of Dad. If it's true, I'll bet you'll see the fastest 50-yard dash you ever saw from Dear Daddy. However, all this could be solved by telling them to show the half-sister her birth certificate and hospital records. Your mom's name won't be on it. Update. I brought the birth certificate up to her before, but she brushed off the comment and continued to bug me. A DNA test would end up being paid for by me, since I know my half-sister wouldn't do it, and Dad would never pay for it. Not to mention, it would bring me back into contact with them more, something I didn't have for years before this. If someone else paid, I'd give my DNA for a test, but I'd rather move on from them all, is my outlook. It changes a little, just not enough for me to want contact with her, if that makes sense. Yesterday evening, my boyfriend 29 and I 23 female agreed that I would take him to look at some cars this morning. He lost his previous car in a crash, not his fault, and because he's not a covered driver on my insurance, I've been driving us everywhere since the accident. This morning I woke up around 8. I asked him, what time are we supposed to go and see the cars? And he didn't know because the sellers hadn't responded yet. Since he wasn't sure, I said, okay, I'm going back to sleep, and did. I expected him to wake me up when it was time to go. I'm not a heavy sleeper, and I'm not cranky or combative when woken up. It hasn't been a problem for him to wake me up when it's time for us to go somewhere. I didn't expect that he would need to be specifically instructed to do so. Instead, I ended up waking up on my own at noon without him ever entering the bedroom. I came out groggy from oversleeping and asked him if the people selling the cars ever got back to him. He snapped at me. They did, hours ago. I asked him if it was time to go soon, and he said, no, we missed it because of you. And now the one I wanted is sold. I asked him about the other ones, and he said, forget it. I asked him why he didn't wake me up, and he said that I chose to blow this off by going back to sleep in the first place. He ignored me when I tried to suggest a few methods of how this could be resolved, like telling me which car it was, and I'd look for similar ones nearby, until he snapped and just screamed at me that I was selfish and I ruined everything, and I can't ever be relied on for anything. This seems extremely unfair, as I've been driving double his commute to get him to and from work 6 days a week for over a month and have never missed a day. He told me he was going over to his friend's house, an alcoholic he only ever hangs out with to get intoxicated, and hasn't come home or communicated with me since. On the one hand, I do feel bad for oversleeping, but I kind of feel like he might be using this to get back at me because I've been hounding him to replace his car, so I don't need to keep driving him everywhere. Maybe he wanted a reason to be angry with me more than he wanted to look for a new car. But my mom scolded me for sleeping in when I called and told her about it. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He could have taken an Uber or found another way to get there if it was so important for him to get there, and for whatever reason, he truly couldn't wake you up. This sounds like a completely fabricated problem, and I think you're right on the money that he was more interested in finding a way to get angry with you than to actually go look for a new car. Sounds like he has no problem with being chauffeured everywhere. Don't take him to work this week if he thinks you're unreliable. His friend can take him, or your mom can. Also, it was only 4 hours between when you first woke up and when he said it was hours since they messaged him back. The car didn't sell, and that's why he wouldn't let you look it up. He just wanted to blame you. Who waits to hear from a salesperson at a dealership? Go there and look at the car yourself.